The clock on the wall ticked loudly in the otherwise quiet house. James glanced nervously at his phone again. It was almost 7 p.m., and he was still waiting for the babysitter he had hired last minute to watch over his daughter Lily. His work meeting had run late, and the stress of juggling everything was already getting to him. He just hoped the sitter would show up soon. He really didn't want to leave Lily alone any longer. Just as James was about to call her again, the front door creaked open. A figure stepped inside, tall, graceful, and unlike anyone James had ever seen before. She moved with an otherworldly poise, her eyes shimmering faintly with a strange, iridescent light. Her hair flowed like liquid silver, and her skin glowed softly under the dim hallway light. James blinked, wondering if the long day had finally caught up with him. "Are you the babysitter?" James asked cautiously. The woman smiled gently, her voice melodic but with a tone that seemed to resonate deeper than mere words. "Yes, James, I am here to care for Lily." Before he could ask any more questions, she moved into the living room, where Lily was playing with her toys. The little girl looked up, eyes wide, but unafraid. "Hi," Lily said shyly. The woman knelt, down, her gaze softening. "Hello, little one. I am Aira." James felt a strange calm wash over him. Despite the bizarre first impression, there was something comforting about this visitor. Hours passed. James sat in his home office, trying to focus on his unfinished work, but distracted by occasional glances toward the living room where Aira watched over Lily. He noticed small things, how Aira's eyes seemed to shift colors subtly as she observed, how she barely touched the toys, yet they seemed to respond to her presence, vibrating faintly with light. Suddenly, James heard a soft chime from the living room. He looked up and saw Lily giggling as a small floating orb of light danced around her fingers. Aira's eyes met his briefly, and she nodded as if to say, "She's safe." Despite his bewilderment, James trusted her, but deep down, a question burned in his mind. Who or what was this woman really? James tried to push the question aside as he finished his work late into the night. When he finally got up to check on Lily, he found her asleep peacefully, with Aira sitting silently beside her. "Thank you," James said quietly. Aira looked up, eyes glowing softly in the dark. "It is my purpose." James noticed then a small pendant around her neck, etched with strange symbols that pulsed faintly. "Where did you come from?" he finally asked. Aira's smile was sad. "From far beyond. I came because Lily needed me." "Needed you?" James repeated, confused. Before she could answer, the lights flickered, and the air seemed to hum with a low vibration. Aira stood, suddenly, eyes alert. "We are not alone," she whispered. James's heart pounded as he realized this night was far from ordinary. The front door creaked open again, this time not from outside, but a shimmering portal appeared near the entrance. Shadowy figures moved within it, their shapes unfamiliar, but undeniably alien. Aira stepped between James and the portal, her body glowing brighter. "This is only the beginning," she said. "You will soon learn why I am here, and why you must protect Lily at all costs." James looked down at his sleeping daughter, then back to the portal. He knew his life had just changed forever. Cliffhanger. Who are these shadowy figures? What is Aira's true mission? And how will James protect his daughter in a world where aliens walk among them? The shimmering portal flickered and pulsed, casting eerie shadows across the walls of James's living room. The figures emerging from it were unlike anything James had ever imagined. Tall, slender beings with elongated limbs and skin that seemed translucent, almost shimmering with internal light. Their eyes glowed softly, devoid of hostility, but radiating an intelligence that was both mesmerizing and chilling. Aira stood firm between James and the portal, her body radiating a protective aura of soft blue light. James could feel the subtle vibration in the air intensify as the being stepped fully into his home. "We mean no harm," one of them spoke, its voice melodic yet strange, echoing as if from a distance. James's mind raced. Who were these visitors? Why had Era come to his home to guard his daughter? And what did all of this have to do with the mysterious pendant she wore? Era's eyes narrowed slightly, her posture shifting from calm to alert. "They have come to retrieve me, but I cannot leave. Not while Lily remains in danger." The beings exchanged glances, their expressions unreadable to James. One stepped forward, holding out a hand that shimmered with an ethereal glow. "This child carries a power ancient and rare. She is the key to our survival, and many seek to use her for their own ends." James felt a cold chill creep down his spine. "What power? Lily is just a little girl." The being's gaze softened. "The blood she carries, it is not entirely human." James shook his head in disbelief. "Blood? What are you saying?" Era moved to kneel beside Lily, who was still sleeping soundly on the couch. "Lily is part of an ancient lineage, connected to a race far beyond Earth. Her mother's origins hold the key, though you may not yet understand." James's thoughts went back to Lily's mother, a woman who had vanished years ago under mysterious circumstances. He had never told Lily the truth about her origins. Could this really be true? Before James could ask more, a sudden noise from outside drew everyone's attention. The lights flickered again, and a low hum filled the room. The air grew heavy, charged with energy. One of the alien visitors raised a hand, and the portal shimmered violently. "We must act quickly. Forces hostile to us are approaching." Ira stood, her eyes blazing. "James, you must trust me. I will protect Lily, but you need to prepare, for what's coming will change everything." That night, James couldn't sleep. The weight of what he had learned pressed on him. His daughter was not just a normal child. She was part of something much larger, something beyond his understanding. But what did it mean for their future? He sat by Lily's bedside, watching her breathe softly, the innocence of childhood untouched by the cosmic mysteries unfolding around her. Era sat silently in the corner, her gaze distant but vigilant. "Why? Me?" James finally asked, breaking the silence. "Because you are her protector," Era replied. "You are the bridge between worlds, and you must be strong for Lily's sake." James swallowed hard. "But I don't even understand half of this. How can I protect her from something I don't understand?" Era smiled faintly. "You will learn, and you will not be alone." The next morning dawned bright and clear, but James felt the tension beneath the surface, like a storm waiting to break. Over breakfast, Era explained more about Lily's heritage. "Our race has watched over humanity from afar for centuries," she said. "We have protected, guided, and observed. But now, dark forces from beyond have learned of Lily's existence. They seek to capture her, to harness the power she carries." James struggled to process the information. "Dark forces? What do they want with her?" Era's eyes darkened. "Power. Control. The bloodline she carries can open gateways, unlock technologies and grant abilities beyond human imagination." James looked at Lily, playing with her cereal, oblivious to the fate that awaited her. "So, what do we do?" "We must keep her hidden, teach her to control her abilities, and be ready to fight if necessary." Days passed, and James began to notice changes, not just in Lily, but in himself. He felt an inexplicable connection to Era, a growing understanding of the strange symbols on her pendant, which she now wore openly. One afternoon, while Lily played in the backyard, James approached Era. "Can you teach me? Teach me how to protect her?" Era nodded. "You already have the strength within you. I will help you awaken it." Over the following weeks, James trained under Era's guidance. He learned to sense energies, to understand the faint ripples in reality that Lily's presence caused. Each day, the strange symbols on Era's pendant glowed brighter, and James felt his own pulse quicken with newfound awareness. But danger was never far away. One evening, as the sun set behind the hills, a chilling message arrived, a cryptic signal transmitted through the home's electronics, a voice distorted but unmistakable. "We are coming for the child. You cannot hide her forever." James's heart pounded. He looked to Era. "Who sent that?" Era's eyes hardened. "A faction from beyond. They have been hunting our kind for centuries. Now they know where Lily is." Fear threatened to consume James, but he pushed it back. "Then we fight." That night, James and Era prepared for the inevitable. The house was fortified with alien technology that Era had summoned. Shields shimmered invisibly around the property, and defensive systems hummed softly beneath the floor. Lily slept, unaware of the battle looming outside her window. Suddenly, the ground trembled as shadows moved beyond the barriers, figures cloaked in darkness, their forms shifting and unsettling. James gripped Era's hand. "This is it." Era's eyes glowed with fierce determination. "Together, we protect her, no matter the cost." The first wave crashed against the shield, sparks flying as energy collided. James felt his body respond in ways he hadn't imagined. Strength surged through him, senses sharpened, fear replaced by resolve. The battle lasted hours, a blur of light and shadow, power and will. Through it all, James fought alongside Era, protecting his daughter and the fragile thread of hope she represented. When dawn broke, the attackers had retreated, but the war was far from over. Era looked at James, exhaustion and pride mixing in her gaze. "This is only the beginning. The path ahead is dangerous, but you have proven your strength," James nodded, holding Lily close. "Then we face it together." Cliffhanger. As the sun rose, a new message flickered on the wall. An image of a distant world, a throne surrounded by alien royalty, and a chilling warning: "The child belongs to us. We will reclaim what was lost." James realized their fight was not just for Lily, but for the fate of entire worlds. The dawn light filtered softly through the cracked windows of James's living room, casting a pale glow over the exhausted trio. James held Lily close, her tiny hands clutching at his shirt as if sensing the storm that had just passed. Era sat nearby, her alien form still shimmering faintly, but her eyes weary with unspoken worry. James's mind was racing, replaying the chilling image that had flickered across the wall moments before, the distant alien throne surrounded by shadowy figures, their faces obscured but their intent clear. The child belonged to them, and they would stop at nothing to claim her. "How can we possibly face something like that?" James whispered, voice rough with exhaustion and fear. "They're not just some strangers, they're royalty. A whole civilization." Era's gaze was steady. "They are not just royalty. They are the rulers of a vast empire spanning multiple star systems, and Lily's lineage ties directly to their bloodline." James's heart sank. "So Lily, is she some kind of princess?" Era nodded. "More than that. She is heir to a throne that could bring peace or destruction, depending on who controls it." James swallowed hard, the weight of his daughter's destiny settling heavily on his shoulders. "And these dark forces that attacked us, they want her for power." "Yes," Era said, "but there are others who would protect her, allies hidden among the stars. We must find them before our enemies do." The days that followed were tense. James found himself thrust into a world he never knew existed, one where cosmic empires waged silent wars, where loyalty and betrayal were two sides of the same coin, and where the fate of his daughter could tip the balance of entire galaxies. Era began preparing Lily for the road ahead. Though still a child, Lily possessed latent powers that began to manifest in small but undeniable ways. a faint glow in her eyes when she was upset, strange visions during her dreams, and a deep, instinctive knowledge that defied explanation. 1. Afternoon, as James helped Lily build a makeshift fort in the backyard, Ira approached with a serious look. "There is a ship," she said, voice low, "a vessel hidden near Earth's orbit. It belongs to an ancient order, guardians sworn to protect our kind and their descendants." James frowned. "Guardians? How do we know we can trust them?" Ira's eyes flickered with something almost human, hope. "Because they, too, fear the royal faction seeking to claim Lily. They want to ensure she grows strong enough to choose her own path." James nodded, slowly, the plan forming in his mind. "Then we find this ship. We take Lily away from here, somewhere safe." That night, under the cover of darkness, James and Ira led Lily outside. The sky was clear, stars twinkling like distant beacons. A faint hum grew louder, and soon a sleek silver craft descended silently, landing just beyond the trees. A hatch opened, and a figure emerged, tall, graceful, with eyes that gleamed with ancient wisdom. "Welcome, James," the visitor said. "I am Kalen, leader of the Starwardens." James studied the newcomer carefully. "Starwardens." Kalen nodded. "We have protected your daughter's lineage for generations, but now time has run short." The ship's interior was a marvel of alien technology. Soft lights pulsed rhythmically, walls shifting colors, and the air thrummed with quiet energy. Inside, Kalen explained the history of the royal faction. Once rulers of a benevolent empire, they had grown corrupt, consumed by greed and ambition. Their hunt for Lily was driven by desperation to reclaim power lost in a rebellion centuries ago. "But Lily is not just a pawn," Kalen said gravely. "She is a beacon of hope. If she chooses, she can unite the factions, restore balance, and bring peace." James looked at Lily sleeping peacefully on a soft cot. "How can a child do all that?" Kalen smiled faintly. "Because she carries the ancient gift of unity, the ability to bridge worlds, to heal divisions." Days turned into weeks as Lily trained with Kalen and his Starwardens. James watched as his daughter grew stronger, her powers blossoming in ways he never dreamed. Yet shadows lurked at every turn. Messages intercepted by the Starwardens revealed the royal faction was relentless. They sent assassins, spies, and agents who could manipulate minds and twist realities. One evening, James was summoned to the ship's command deck. Kalen stood over a holographic map, red blips moving closer to Earth. "They're coming," Kalen said. "Soon the battle will reach your home." James clenched his fists. "Then we prepare, no matter what it takes." Back on Earth, the tension was palpable. Ira's protective shield around the house shimmered faintly, as if sensing the growing threat. James fortified their defenses, working alongside Kalen's Starwardens, who had come to Earth to protect Lily. Lily's powers became more pronounced. She could manipulate light, create barriers, and even sense emotions around her, but with power came fear and doubt. One night, James found Lily standing by the window, staring at the stars with tears in her eyes. "Why me, Dad?" she whispered. "Why am I different?" James wrapped his arms around her. "Because you're special, Lily, and because you have a choice, to be whoever you want to be." She looked up, hope mingling with uncertainty. "Will I ever be normal?" James smiled, gently. "Maybe normal isn't what you're meant to be, but you'll never be alone." The day of reckoning arrived faster than anyone expected. An assault force descended on their location, powerful beings cloaked in dark armor, wielding weapons that bent reality itself. The battle was fierce. Energy blasts lit up the sky. The ground shook beneath their feet, and James fought alongside Ira and the Starwardens with every ounce of strength. Lily, at the center of the storm, called upon her powers like never before. Light and shadow clashed around her, and with a burst of energy she unleashed a wave that sent the attackers reeling. But victory came at a cost. Era was struck by a powerful blast, collapsing to the ground. James rushed to her side. "Era, stay with me!" She smiled weakly. "You must protect her no matter what." Her eyes closed, and James felt a surge of despair. As the dust settled, James cradled Lily, determination burning in his heart. "This isn't over," he vowed. "We will fight, we will survive, and we will uncover the truth behind your legacy." Cliffhanger. Late that night, as James guarded the house, a faint whisper echoed in his mind, an alien voice calling from the depths of space. "Heir of stars, your destiny awaits beyond the void. Seek the forgotten throne, or lose all to darkness." The voice haunted James's mind long after the battle had ended. It was no ordinary whisper. It carried the weight of ancient knowledge, a summons from beyond the stars. As he sat alone in the quiet room, cradling Lily, who was still fast asleep, James realized their fight was far from over. It was just beginning. Era's sacrifice had left a void in their small group, but her words echoed like a mantra in his heart. Protect her, and no matter what. And that's exactly what he intended to do. The Star Warden Kalen stood beside James, his expression grave but resolute. The ship's holographic map flickered with new data. "The voice you heard," Kalen explained, "is a call from an ancient source, a power hidden within the heart of the galaxy. It refers to the Forgotten Throne." James frowned, eyes narrowing. "What's the Forgotten Throne?" Kalen's gaze turned distant, as if recalling a long-buried memory. "It is the original seat of power for Lily's ancestors, an artifact of unimaginable strength. Legend says whoever claims the throne can unite the fractured empires or destroy them." James exhaled deeply. "And if the royal faction gets it first," Kalen's voice hardened, "then chaos will reign. They seek the throne to solidify their control, to crush all opposition. That is why we must find it before they do." Lily stirred, sensing the tension. She looked up at James with wide eyes, innocence mingling with the growing realization of her destiny. "Dad," she said softly, "what's the Forgotten Throne?" James forced a smile. "Something very important, sweetheart. Something that might help us save the universe." Lily nodded slowly, though confusion clouded her young face. "Will I have to fight again?" James's heart ached. "Maybe. But you won't be alone. We'll face it together." The crew aboard the Star Warden ship quickly prepared for the journey. Kalen briefed James on what they might face. "The path to the Forgotten Throne lies through the Void Rift, a dangerous space anomaly where time and reality blur. Many who enter never return, but it's the only way to reach the throne." James swallowed hard. The risk was immense, but he knew they had no choice. "Lily needs to learn more about her powers," Kalen said. "The throne will test her in ways we cannot predict." Over the next few days, Lily trained relentlessly with Kalen and the Star Warden warriors. Her abilities deepened. She could now bend light to cloak their movements, create shields strong enough to withstand energy blasts, and sense hidden threats before they materialized. James watched with a mixture of pride and worry. He saw the child who once feared the dark now step into a warrior's role, but at what cost? One evening, as the ship cruised silently through space, Lily approached James, eyes bright with determination. "Dad, I want to know more about my family," she said. "About where I came from." James nodded. "I'll tell you everything." He began recounting the ancient history Kalen had shared, the rise of her ancestors, a civilization that once united multiple worlds in peace and prosperity. But as power grew, so did corruption. A rebellion split the empire, dividing it into warring factions. Lily's family, once rulers, became targets. Some sought to preserve the legacy, others desired to claim it by any means necessary. "You're "The hope to bring those worlds together again," James explained. "But that means facing enemies who want to tear you apart." Lily's small hands clenched. "I'm ready." As the Star Warden ship approached the edge of the void rift, tension filled the air. The swirling energy of the rift looked like a colossal storm, twisting space itself. Kalen stood at the helm, voice steady. "Once we enter, the rift will try to break us, physically and mentally. Stay close. Trust your instincts." James squeezed Lily's hand. "We're with you, always." The ship plunged into the rift's heart, reality warping around them. Time stretched and compressed unpredictably. Strange visions flickered, ghosts of the past and possible futures. Suddenly, alarms blared. The ship shuddered violently as unseen. Forces assaulted their hull, shields holding, but weakening, Kalen shouted. James gripped the railing, struggling to keep his footing. Lily closed her eyes, focusing her energy, weaving a protective shield that stabilized the ship. The attack subsided, leaving an eerie silence. "Who was that?" James asked. Kalen's face was grim. "A guardian of the rift, testing our worth. If we fail, we'll be lost forever." James nodded, heart pounding. "We can't fail." As they pressed deeper, the rift revealed its true nature, a labyrinth of shifting corridors in a realm between space and time. Shadows moved with intent, whispers echoed in unknown languages, and the crew faced illusions designed to fracture their minds. At one point, James found himself separated, wandering through a phantom version of his own childhood home. Voices called to him, memories, regrets, and fears, but a small voice broke through. "Dad, come back." It was Lily. He focused on her voice, his anchor to reality, and broke free. Reunited, the crew pressed forward until they reached a hidden chamber glowing with ancient light. In the center, a crystalline throne pulsed with power, both beautiful and terrifying. Kalen stepped forward reverently. The forgotten throne. Lily approached, her small hands trembling as she reached out. "The throne," responded, glowing brighter. Images flooded her mind. Her ancestors, their triumphs and failures, the hopes placed upon her. Suddenly, a figure materialized, a tall being cloaked in regal armor. The royal faction's leader. "You dare claim what is not yours?" The figure demanded, voice like thunder. Lily stood firm. "I am not here to claim. I am here to unite." The figure snarled, launching a surge of dark energy. A fierce battle erupted, light against shadow, hope against despair. James fought alongside Kalen and the Star Wardens, deflecting attacks and protecting Lily. With every ounce of strength, Lily summoned the throne's power, channeling a brilliant light that pushed back the darkness. Finally, with a cry of determination, she unleashed a wave that shattered the shadow figure. As silence returned, the throne's glow softened. Kalen smiled. "You have passed the trial, Lily. The throne recognizes you as its true heir." James looked at his daughter, tears streaming down his face. "You did it." Lily smiled, exhausted but radiant. "We did it, together." But Kalen's expression darkened. "This victory is only the beginning. The royal faction will not rest. Their forces grow stronger, and there are other secrets yet to be uncovered." James nodded. "Then we keep fighting." Cliffhanger. As the ship prepared to leave the rift, an encrypted transmission crackled through the comms. "To the heir of stars, beware the shadow within. Trust no one, for the greatest danger lies not in the enemy, but in the hearts closest to you." The encrypted message still echoed in James's mind like a haunting melody. "Beware the shadow within. Trust no one." The words seemed to claw at his thoughts, sowing doubt where certainty once lived. Who could they trust? How deep did the betrayal run? And most terrifyingly, what shadow lurked closest to them? The Star Warden ship had barely cleared the void rift when James convened a meeting with Kalen and the remaining crew. The weight of recent events pressed down on them all. The victory at the Forgotten Throne had been hard won, but now a darker battle awaited. "We can't ignore the message," James said, staring across the room at Kalen, his voice grim. "Someone close to us could be working against Lily." Kalen nodded slowly, rubbing his chin. "It's a warning from an ancient intelligence, one that has watched over the throne for centuries. If the threat is internal, then we must be vigilant. The enemy is clever." James clenched his fists. "I want to know everything, no more secrets." Lily, sitting quietly nearby, listened intently. Her young face was determined but shadowed by uncertainty. Days passed as the crew scanned for any signs of infiltration or sabotage. Every system was checked, every communication monitored, yet nothing concrete emerged. Still, the tension grew like a storm gathering on the horizon. James found himself watching the crew closely. Every glance, every word, every hesitation felt laden with potential betrayal. Trust was a fragile thing now. One night, Lily approached James, her eyes troubled. "Dad, what if the shadow is inside me?" she asked softly. "What if I'm the danger?" James pulled her close. "No, Lily. You are the light. The throne chose you because of your strength and your heart, but we must all stay strong, together." The following morning, an unexpected visitor arrived aboard the ship, a mysterious envoy from the royal faction, a man named Darek. His appearance was elegant, almost regal, but his eyes were cold and calculating. "I come with an offer," Darek said smoothly, bowing to Lily. "The royal faction seeks peace and an alliance. Your power is undeniable, and together we could bring order to the chaos." James immediately bristled. "Why should we trust you after everything you've done?" Darek smiled thinly. "Because the alternative is endless war. You've already seen what our forces can do." Lily studied him, sensing the danger beneath. The polished exterior. That night, James held a private meeting with Kalen and Lily. "We can't let our guard down," Kalen warned. "Darek is here to divide us, to weaken our resolve. We must be prepared for treachery." Lily nodded, her young face steeling with resolve. "I won't let him use me." James placed a hand on her shoulder. "We'll face this together." But the shadow was already creeping closer. Unexplained system failures plagued the ship, vital data corrupted, navigation compromised. The crew grew uneasy, whispers of sabotage spreading like wildfire. Then, a startling discovery. Secret transmissions were being sent from within the ship, encrypted messages linking to the royal faction. James's heart sank. Someone among them was betraying their cause. He convened a tense council. "Whoever is behind this," James declared, "is a traitor. They risk everything we've fought for." Eyes darted nervously around the room. Accusations hung unspoken. Kalen stepped forward. "We will find the shadow." Lily's voice was steady. "No matter what, I stand with you all." The investigation uncovered a shocking truth. One of the Starwooden warriors, a trusted friend named Malric, was the traitor. He had been feeding information to the royal faction, sabotaging their efforts. From within. When confronted, Malric sneered, "You don't understand the power you wield, Lily. The throne belongs to the strongest, not a child." James's anger boiled over. "You betrayed your family." Malric shrugged. "I betrayed a lost cause. The royal faction offers survival. You offer chaos." The confrontation escalated into a fierce battle aboard the ship's corridors. Malric wielded dark energy granted by the royal faction's technology, forcing James, Kalen, and Lily to combine their powers. Lily's light clashed with Malric's. Shadows, filling the halls with bursts of energy. With a final surge, Lily unleashed a brilliant wave of power that incapacitated Malric. As Malric lay defeated, the crew's trust began to heal. But James knew the danger was far from over. The royal faction's reach was deeper than they had imagined, and the warning about the shadow within still loomed. That night, James found himself alone on the ship's observation deck, staring out into the endless stars. Lily joined him, her small hand slipping into his. "Dad," she said softly, "what if the shadow isn't just a person? What if it's something inside me?" James looked down, heart aching. "We all have shadows, Lily, but it's our choice to fight them or let them control us." Lily nodded, eyes shining with resolve. "We fight. Together." Suddenly, an alert flashed across the control panel, an unknown vessel approaching. At high speed, Kalen's voice crackled over the comms. "Enemy ship, they're coming." James's heart pounded. The final battle was approaching. Cliffhanger. As the enemy ship closed in, James realized the terrifying truth. The invaders weren't just soldiers. They carried a weapon far worse than anything they had faced. A device capable of erasing entire worlds from existence, and their target was none other than Lily herself. The cold hum of the enemy vessel filled the void outside the starwarden ship. James's hands tightened around the console, his gaze locked on the glowing menace that grew ever larger on the viewscreen. The dark ship pulsed with a malevolent energy, an energy not of mere weapons, but of annihilation. The weapon the invaders carried was unlike anything the universe had ever witnessed. The Oblivion Core, capable of erasing entire planets in an instant. Lily stood beside him, her young face set with fierce determination, but her eyes betrayed the weight of what she carried. Not just the throne, not just the power, but the fragile hope of an entire galaxy. "We don't have much time," Kalen's voice crackled urgently over the comm system. "They're preparing to fire the core. If they succeed, everything we fought for will be lost." James took a deep breath. "We won't let that happen." Turning to the crew, he commanded, "Prepare all defenses. Shield generators at maximum. Lily, focus on your power. We need every ounce of your strength." Lily nodded, the light within her starting to glow brighter, illuminating the dim bridge like a beacon of hope. The enemy ship fired first. A beam of crushing darkness shot through space, headed straight for the starwarden vessel. The shields flared, absorbing the impact, but cracks began to spiderweb across the energy barriers. James's voice was calm, but firm. "Hold steady! Keep the shields up!" On the bridge, chaos erupted. Alarms blared, systems flickered, and the crew fought to maintain control. But the enemy's weapon was relentless, chipping away at their defenses with terrifying precision. Suddenly, the starwarden ship shuddered violently. "We're losing power!" one crew member shouted. Kalen scrambled to the engines. "I'm rerouting all available energy to the shields. It won't hold for long." Lily stepped forward, her hands glowing with a brilliant, almost blinding light. "Let me try," she whispered. James looked at her, pride and worry battling in his eyes. "Be careful." Lily closed her eyes, focusing inward. The light around her expanded, filling the bridge with warmth and hope. The energy she wielded was ancient, connected to the throne's deepest mysteries, a force born not of destruction, but of creation. The enemy's dark beam faltered as Lily's light met it head-on. A clash of pure energy tore through space, shaking the ship to its core. But then came a voice, cold, mocking, from the enemy ship's speaker. "You are powerless, child. The Oblivion Core will erase your existence." Lily opened her eyes, now blazing with determination. "You underestimate the power of hope." With a cry, she unleashed a surge of energy that surged toward the enemy ship, piercing its shields and lighting the vessel ablaze. Inside the enemy ship, chaos spread among their ranks. The command crew struggled to maintain control as the Starwarden's counterattack ignited their hull. But the true horror had yet to be revealed. Back on the Starwarden bridge, the power flickered again. Suddenly, a chilling realization hit James. The core isn't just a weapon, it's a virus. It's infecting our systems. Systems failed one by one, darkening and shutting down. The ship began to drift, powerless. "We're drifting into the rift," Kalen shouted. The void rift was a swirling anomaly of raw space-time energy, dangerous, unpredictable. If the ship was trapped inside, escape would be nearly impossible. Lily's light dimmed as exhaustion washed over her. James stepped forward. "Lily, you need to rest." "No," she said fiercely. "If I stop now, everything is lost." James swallowed his fear. "We fight as one. You are not alone." In the depths of the ship, a hidden chamber stirred. A shadowy figure, cloaked in darkness, watched the battle unfold through ancient screens. "The light threatens to burn the shadows away," the figure whispered. "But shadows are patient." The figure turned to reveal a face that was both alien and human, an echo of the throne's ancient past. Back on the bridge, Lily's eyes fluttered closed. Suddenly, a surge of energy burst from her, stronger than ever before. The throne's power awakened fully within her. The star-wooden ship shuddered as systems began to revive, bathed in her light. James felt a strange calm wash over him. The enemy ship faltered, its fires growing uncontrollable. With one final blast, Lily directed a beam of pure light into the core. The weapon shattered, exploding in a cascade of energy that lit the void like a supernova. The enemy vessel was destroyed, its remnants scattering like stardust. Silence fell. James looked at Lily, whose breathing was shallow but steady. "You did it," he whispered. Lily smiled weakly. "We did it. Together." Kalen approached, relief evident on his face. "The threat is over, but the war is not." James nodded. "The shadows will always return, but so will the light." Epilogue: months later, the star-wooden ship hovered above a newly reborn planet. Lily stood on the observation deck, gazing at the stars. James joined her. "You have changed the course of history," he said quietly. Lily turned, eyes shining. "No, Dad, we changed it together. The throne belongs not to one, but to all who dare to hope." James smiled, the burden of leadership now shared. Final lesson: true power is not domination or fear. It is hope, unity, and the courage to face darkness with light. Shadows may linger, but the human spirit, resilient and unyielding, will always shine through. The universe is vast and mysterious, filled with dangers and wonders alike. But no matter how deep the shadows grow, as long as we hold on to each other, there is always a way forward. The end.